I'm looking forward to this report and hope that it did a thorough job of going back and looking to see what went on. Many of us have suspicions of what was going on. We had no way to compel information or even get information so that we could determine that. But we're looking forward to seeing this report.
4 of the chief aiders and abettors and associates and accomplices are sitting right in front of me. Mr. Phelps, you're one. Mr. Harmon, you're one. Mr. Val Smith, you're one. Ms. Vine Cloud, you're one. You were assisted by Mr. Adair, Mr. Price, and Mr. Bud Burnett. Those 3 are no longer with us. But you 4 voting directors bear a great share of the responsibility for any of the wrongdoing, the malfeasance, the total disregard for members' rights and funds that this report may indicate. You were assisted by your auditor, KPMG, I dare say. I dare say also that this report won't mention much about KPMG, since KPMG personnel shadowed the Navigant workers as they put together their report. And finally, another entity bearing real responsibility, in my judgment, is the longtime legal firm associated with PEC, and that's Clark, Thomas, and Winters. Clark, Thomas, and Winters has been the chief legal advisor for this board for years and years and years, and doubtless aided and abetted and assisted a great deal of what was done here. It's not for nothing that the Clark, Thomas, and Winters attorneys inserted in the settlement agreement that you 4 voting directors agreed to an immunity provision. So not only do you 4 have the promise of immunity for civil actions, but Clark, Thomas, and Winters attorneys also have that immunity. I would ask you all, if you have any sense of shame and responsibility, to offer your resignations after this meeting.
The scope of our efforts include a detailed analysis and investigation of various expense items, business arrangements, interrelationships, and transactions involving PEC management, directors, and various outside parties. We've summarized various payments, funds transfers, and types of information as well involving the Envision subsidiary. We've reviewed PEC board and management policies and procedures, authorizations, delegation of authority, and other management practices in running the cooperative over the past 10 years. The report, it has 27 sections, and I'd like to take a few minutes just to kind of outline how the report is laid out and how we presented the information. It is 27 sections in length with an executive summary that lays out the most salient points of our efforts and our preliminary observations and findings. The executive summary is itself not a very short summary. It's probably 27 to 30 pages long. The 27 sections of the report correlate with the focus of our efforts in the areas that I outlined previously, including focus on management compensation and benefits, board compensation and benefits, and so forth. Each section of the report is laid out with a background that it kind of explains the relevance of our inquiry into that area. It lists a detailed by bullet point sort of outline of the work that was performed in relation to that area. The third piece is our observations and findings from the work that we have performed. And then the final piece is a set of recommendations focusing primarily on that section, the control processes, the business processes that were in place at the time. So each section has a set of recommendations. Going forward, if we lined all the recommendations up, I think they would be in excess of 30 pages of the report itself. I think in closing, I have, I'm not going to go into the observations and kind of findings at this time. I think it would be inappropriate, given the extent of the report and that various parties have not had an opportunity to review it. I think it's important that parties have an opportunity to review it. There are a number of different findings and issues within the report, but it's extensive, it is comprehensive in the coverage of our efforts in this matter. And with that, Mr. President, I submit the report.
I appreciate it. We're anxiously awaited this. Those of us that are committed to openness and disclosure have waited a long time for this, and trust that you will have follow-up. If there are any other issues that you need to examine, those will be done. I've asked if we should accept this report. Really, there's no need to have a resolution now to accept the report, but it is important that we agree, and we will heed your recommendations. We will read them, understand them. May not agree with all of them, but those that are applicable and we can do and can find a consensus in the board to do, we will do it, and we'll work with those. Thank you.